The BBC has an important role in ensuring that audiences have the correct facts around paracetamol, autism and vaccinations, and also in communicating accurate, reliable information from scientists and medical experts based on the scientific evidence. Well, with that in mind, let's speak to Joe Long from Scottish Autism. Joe, good to have you with us. What's your reaction to the claims made there by President Trump?
Well, the reaction we're seeing from the community that we serve is very mixed emotions, really, of anger, of sadness, of frustration that once again autistic people are being stigmatized and spoken about as a problem to be solved in this way. When we talk about treatments and cures and causes, we fail to sort of celebrate the diversity of our communities and the neurodiversity of our communities, and promote that culture of acceptance and accommodation that we need. We just think at Scottish Autism that the focus should be on supporting and accepting difference, but this kind of medicalized language based on very flimsy on no facts really, is just goes further to sort of stigmatize a community that are already marginalized.
How damaging are these claims to those within the autism community, would you say?
Well, they are damaging because of this ongoing stigma, treating people as though they're a problem to be solved, that people need to be cured rather than trying to accommodate their needs.
So it's the language around it as well.
The language around it, the use of this kind of medicalized approach. And, there's a weariness about this because we've seen it before around discussions around vaccines. We see all the time misinformation about causes and cures around autism. That's not new. But to hear it from the President of the United States and hear it sort of politicized in this way, it does add to a sort of a feeling of sort of fear and anxiety really in the autistic community about where that's going to go. We're already seeing research funding pulled, real life consequences of this, in the world, and when the time when we really should be investing in, support and for our community.
Do you think there have been advances in recent years over the understanding of autism?
Absolutely, they have. Yes, we now have a much broader understanding of the different ways in which autism manifests and the kind of heterogeneity, the diversity of the autistic community. So yes, we are seeing larger numbers of people diagnosed, larger numbers of people identifying as autistic, but that's because our understanding has increased of the different ways in which autism presents itself. 30 years ago we had much more limited understanding of a particular type of autism, but diagnostic criteria have caught up to meet this kind of greater understanding. So yes, we are seeing a greater number, but that's because we're seeing a greater understanding.
Causes of autism have long been debated, and perhaps even more so recently. How much do we know, Joe?
Well, I mean, I don't want to get into the science of it. That's not really my specialism, but autism is not one thing. It's very heterogeneous, so there's very likely to be very different causes. There'll be genetic aspects to it, we know that. But for us, let's get away from this focus on cause and cure, and let's talk about what autistic people need and how we can support people and how we can celebrate the diversity of our communities. That's the sort of message I would want people to take away.
So we're focusing actually in the wrong area in a way.
Yes, if you look about the money that goes into research on cause and all of those things compared to the money that goes into supporting people and trying to understand how better support people, it's very unbalanced. So we would always argue at Scottish Autism that our focus is much more on supporting the community, accepting difference, and doing what we can so that everybody can make a contribution to the diverse, rich society that we live in.
Joe, thanks so much for coming on with us tonight. Joe Long there from Scottish Autism.